Fredrik coming at you with another episode of Hey Bror Fredrik. On today's episode of Hey Bror Fredrik, we're going to discuss something near and dear to my heart and probably yours too. How do slot machines work? And even if you're a casual player, you need to know this information, and I'm pleased to pass it on to you. Now, I thought I knew a lot about slot machines. I probably do, but I spoke to some individuals who actually work on slot machines and individuals who are instrumental in laying out slot machines and implementing slot machines here in Las Vegas. And they dropped some information on me that was actually very surprising, and I think it'll be very surprising to you too. So we're going to drive up and down the strip a little bit. There's a ton of construction and a ton of traffic as per usual, and it's going to go on for years, so just enjoy the sights and sounds of Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip, and we'll be right back. Welcome back again. My name's Bror Fredrik, local Las Vegas-based photographer, videographer, cinematographer, and part-time philosopher. And on today's episode of Hey Bror Fredrik, we're going to discuss how slot machines work. Now, what you hear a lot of the times is random number generator, random number generator. It's all about the random number generator. We're going to get into that in a second and why random number generators are basically a dead issue when it comes to slot machines. But first, let me talk about a couple of things related to the Gaming Commission. And I was slightly corrected on this myself. I'll be perfectly honest. Now, the Gaming Commission, in the old days, they used to check, well, they still randomly check machines, but they give a legal range in which the casinos can operate their slot machines at, specific percentages. I thought that was on a much more specific basis than it actually is. I thought it was, well, this machine has to be 86. Let's check to see that it's 86%. This one is supposed to be 93. Let's make sure that it's 93 or better. It doesn't quite work that way anymore. The casino operators are given specific ranges in which they can operate their machines. They cannot go under, but they can definitely go over. Now, again, that's a little bit of a game-changing information to know now that a machine can never be dropped below a certain percentages, and I wasn't told those percentages, but I'm guessing they're around high 70s, low 80s, maybe even mid 80s before it becomes just ridiculous and they have to protect the consumer. They can't set a machine at, 45%, but they have a range within to operate now. Knowing that information, that the casinos can operate a machine within a range from 100% to whatever the low end of the Gaming Commission range is, that it's not each machine is set for a specific. Now, they can be set for a specific number, but the range can be anything that the casino wants to set. Okay, that is very valuable information. How can we use that? Now let's talk about random number generators real quick. We hear that bandied about, oh, random number generators, oh, you're full of it, oh, random number generators control everything, random number generators. What is a random number generator? An RNG is a piece of hardware that is put in a slot machine, and it can be set with different percentages. You can take said little chip out, and I think there's up to 6 settings on some random number generators. You can set it at 84, you can set it at 88, you can set it at whatever. There's 6 different hard programmable. You ever program a remote control for a garage? Slide this one up, slide that one down, that type of stuff. That's how it works. Now, that was a form of mechanical random number generation, and everybody, including myself, thought it was more valid than it actually was. So yes, the machine can be changed, to different percentage payouts, and it can be done relatively easy. You got to open up the machine. In some machines, you used to have to pop the chip out, put it into a handheld device, program it from there. Other ones, you slid around a little bit, slam the door closed, but it would have been a procedure. This is the beautiful Las Vegas sign that we're passing right now. So it would have been a bit more of a procedure. Now, here's the thing with random number generators. Random number generators barely exist anymore. If the machine that you're playing, which is the majority of machines now, have touch screens. If the machine you're playing has a touch screen in it, then most likely it does not have a random number generator. If it does not have a touch screen, there's a possibility that it does indeed have a random number generator. Now, random number generator, they're set in stone. When they open it up and they decide what to set that percentage at, it remains at that percentage until somebody physically goes in there and changes it. Are there still machines in Las Vegas with random number generators? Yes, there are. Older real machines, some of the Blazing Sevens, the real machines and non-touchscreen machines have a chance that there's a random number generator that is actually physically manipulated for a specific payout. All the other machines in the casino, specifically the ones that have touch screens in them, if you can touch the panel and make things happen, it does not have a random number generator in it. What it does have is computer software inside that is tied into a central control system where the casino operator, via this software, can control every single machine in a casino. One machine or 1,000 machines with various presses of a button inside. Now, everyone has always thought, well, I'm winning on this machine and someone pressed a button somewhere and put the kibosh on it. That way I can't win any more money. Now, that is totally possible. We used to think that's a myth. Do they do it? I do not think so. Now, talking with these individuals, what these machines can do via this software that controls them all, they can manipulate the percentage of that machine like they used to do with the random number generators at will. They could take a machine, the Buffalo that's sitting in this corner, and change it from an 88% to a 96% with a press of the button. They can take that same 98% machine and turn it into an 84 with a press of a button. Now, why would they do that? You can say, oh, well, they can really manipulate and screw the players and all this other type of stuff. They're not necessarily doing it for that, but here's the thing. What they can do with that is what's called, if you talk to the software developers, you can meet the goals of the metric of the day on a granular level down to the very specific machine or the specific area. So it still holds true that picking the right area, picking the right slot machine does benefit. And I have a video on how to pick the right slot machine, and that video is still valid. So I'm going to drop a card for that now. But what they can do is develop metrics for certain times of the day. If they see, they want to promote a specific area, they want more attraction in a certain area of the casino, outside a bar or whatever, they can control that specific banks of machines at any given time to pay out more. If one area is more congested, it's drawing all the activity, they can lower it, and by people's pain thresholds, that area will start to clear out because their money's gone. This area will develop more more people and more play, so they can develop a metric. Now, the sneaky thing of that is you could say, well, they have their electric bill to pay today, so they can just jack all the machines up and pay their electric bill. The quote unquote metric that they have to meet. What is a metric? It's a fancy way of saying how much money they want to make today, but it's very, very specific in terms of what they want to do with certain machines. So the thinking behind it is that they're going to turn certain machines into promotional machines. I call them high-paying machines. That's not the greatest. Well, from our point of view, yes, high-paying machines, high percentage, high payback machines. In their opinion, using the software and being, well-versed in psychology and everything else in order to get a job running the software and laying out slots in casinos, they consider it promotional machines. So they might set up the promotional machine in this area. They might set up 5 promotional machines. Promotional being they're going to set them at a higher payout to draw either attention to the machine or attention to the area or meet some type of metric that they want to achieve within the casino. Now, again, it still holds true that they might have a shitty paying machine right next to a great paying machine, because the great paying machine might be the promotional machine, and you'll encounter that throughout the day. One thing I did want to mention, what I was told might be true. They kind of put me on the QT. I'm allowed to speak about this, but I'm not going to drop names or companies or anything. But what they do not do, it is I don't know if it's a gaming commission rule, but as a general rule of thumb, here's 2 things. One, when the gaming commission assesses the range at which machines can operate throughout Las Vegas, most of these places are well above it, because I think the threshold is very, very low. They don't want to go to that threshold, so they keep it, on the high side. So that's a good thing. Now, your local 7-Eleven 5 miles off the strip, they might have it set at the absolute lowest. A local bar, whatever, they might just be like, screw it, we're going to hose the people. But they keep it on, they don't put it on the bare minimum. It tends to be on the high side, because that's just good for business. People aren't stupid. You have to give them some entertainment value. Number 2, they do not change payouts while you're playing. That's what I was told. There has to be, depending on the casino operator, what their standard is anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes that the machine is idle before they can change it. Now, one person could be sitting there running some Buffalo sessions, and they get up, that clock starts ticking, it transmits it's connected to the software, the main whatever, and once it's idle for 15 minutes, once it's idle for 20, 30, an hour, it has to be idle, and then they can go in there and change it. Now, are they going to be so malicious to say, oh, Bror Fredrik, he just won $1,000 on that Buffalo over there. Let's tighten that thing up, like, now, go, hit that button, bam. And then suddenly, it's going to hose everyone. Yeah, it's possible that they do that. But here's the thing. There's thousands of machines in a casino. They're not minding each one. Now, if there's an anomaly, if one machine is just set for 87% and it runs into a cycle and it's just paying everyone hand over fist for the last freaking 10 hours, yeah, it'll alert them and they'll put the kibosh on it and turn that sucker down. No ifs, ands, or buts. So the machine has to be idle for 15 to 30 minutes plus before they change it. So they are not going to change it in the middle of your winning session. Now, what is an idle machine? I don't know. Does that mean you haven't pressed the button? Does that mean that if you were on the phone texting for 20 minutes and, closing that big deal back at your firm, that they could change it when the money's still in there? I don't know. Does the money have to be out? Does the card have to be out? I don't know what qualifies as an idle machine. Only they know, I do not. But if your machine remains idle, so if you sit there, you cash out, some people like to cycle tickets through. They make a big win, they cash out, they put the ticket back in, or they put them aside, go for another session. Don't wait. That's all I'm saying. Do not wait more than 10 minutes if you're doing that. If that's your strategy, do not wait, because yes, they can go in there and manipulate the payout if the machine is idle. So if you're going to stay on that machine, if you're cycling money or cycling tickets through it, don't wait more than 15 minutes, because they could. I'm not saying they will, but they could. Now, this brings another thing into question, which I'm going to do another video about, is why I personally don't use players cards in the casino. In the machines, I definitely use them at the table, but not so much in the machines. And I've been experimenting with that too, with relative information that I'm gathering right now. But here's another thing: when you put the card in there, is this software able to determine your pain threshold? Is it able to determine your style of play? Does the machine know? Do they know what you do? When you get a big hit, do you triple your bet and run it back down to zero? They know. They can sort of get a psychological profile on you as a gambler, as a gamer, as a slot machine player via your card through this software. Do they do it? I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but it is something that is feasible. So what have we learned from this? Random number generators are basically bogus. They're almost they're a dinosaur now. So when people toss around, it's a random number generator, it's a random number generator, every spin is blah blah blah, random number. No, random number generators probably went out a decade ago. There's some machines still on the strip that use random number generators, but the touchscreen versions of any machine, which is basically, I'd say 90+%, are running on massive, integrated, tied into a central hub software system that's a casino operator can adjust at will, and they can also set their own algorithms. They could program every machine in their property for the next entire day the evening before. At 8 a.m., this bank is going to be this percentage, this machine's going to be that percentage. If we meet the goal in this area, shut it back down again once the machines go idle. If this machine is not meeting our specific metric, make this adjustment. That way it does meet this metric. That is all done behind the scenes, and that can be done without ever having to get on the floor. There's some genius back there monitoring and figuring it out, and they can program individual variables into the machines. That way, if they hit or miss a certain criteria, this is the response the machine is going to have. It's an amazing thing. I still have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm going to continue down this path and figure out how it benefits and how it may help. But this is information that you need to know, and I hope you learned as much as I did. I'm going to bounce off the strip here, because once you get past the wind core here, the traffic is absolutely freaking nuts. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hey Bror Fredrik, and I appreciate you coming along for the ride and hearing me out. And again, drop the 9% word of the day, which I'm going to put right up here. Bam! And that'll let me know, and it'll let YouTube know that you stuck around to the very end. That helps the channel out tremendously. And if you want to help the channel out, you can go ahead and get a Patreon. You can go ahead and get a channel membership. You can click on any of the links in the description below. I got everything in there, from the underwear that I wear to the books that I read. I get like a 1% commish, but it helps me out tremendously. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your support. And I appreciate you hitting that like, subscribe, share, and that bell button to get notified when we do this again. I'm looking forward to having another talk and another live with you guys. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.